Dalvin Cook's asking price might just price the New York Jets out of landing this running back. What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Make sure to follow along on socials, Matt O'Leary NY, and check out the Just Jets podcast. New episodes drop every single Wednesday. You can call in and leave me your questions, and I'll answer them on the show. So Dalvin Cook was officially released by the Minnesota Vikings. He is a free agent and can sign with any team in the NFL. Now, the Miami Dolphins seem to make a ton of sense. Supposedly Denver's interested. The Buffalo Bills could be interested in teaming up the Cook brothers. Having them come out of the backfield would be exciting, but a team that's also been linked to Dalvin Cook a lot has been our New York Jets, which is why I've talked about him a lot on this channel the last few weeks, really the last couple of weeks covering these rumors. But there was a report earlier today coming from Tom Pelissero on what Dalvin Cook is seeking on his next deal. And if these reports are true, I think it could potentially price the Jets out of landing a guy like Dalvin Cook. So supposedly Tom Pelissero is saying that a $5 million contract is not what it's going to end up taking for a guy like Dalvin Cook. Instead, he is looking for a significant contract. Now he is coming off a deal where he was making $12.6 million a year, AAV. Obviously the cap, your cap number can fluctuate over the, each year based on how the contract is structured. But based on AAV, he was one of the higher paid running backs at 12.6. Now, in order to make it into the top 10 for AAV on the next deal, he would have to make more than James Conner, which is a $7 million AAV. And then after that, you have a bunch of the guys who just signed or who just got, I guess, franchise tagged in like the Saquon Barkleys and Tony Pollard and Josh Jacobs of the world. All those guys are kind of clumped together right there, just over $10 million. But if that's what it's going to be, like if that's what the cap number is going to be, I guess we should make that clear, right? And differentiate between what the cap number is and what the salary is, because those things are two different things. And it's something that I've wanted to make clear about Aaron Rodgers, because a lot of people still don't understand that. They think Aaron Rodgers' cap hit this year is $50 million, which is just nuts, when it's really just over $1 million, which that's kind of crazy in itself. But everyone knows that next year he is projected to have a big cap hit, but it's going to get restructured and changed a little bit. So really, essentially the point is you can do some cap gymnastics to make things work out. But that would be a lot of money for a running back at this point for the New York Jets on a team that yes, they have Breece Hall, and a Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook tandem in theory could be fun. But I don't think you draft Izzy Abanikanda. I don't think, with Michael Carter and Bam Knight, did both those guys struggle down the stretch last year? Yes. I personally don't see the Jets giving up on them just yet. I think they really like this young running back room. They've been linked to numerous veterans, whether it be Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott. They've had some sort of link. And the Jets were pretty quick to put to bed the Ezekiel Elliott one, where it seems like, especially Robert Saleh, gave this one a little bit more time of day. Even with, not that it's the same position, but they were pretty quick Robert Saleh was pretty quick to dismiss the DeAndre Hopkins rumors. But Dalvin Cook, it feels like they're going to at least kick the tires on. And at that price point, I don't know if it really makes a ton of sense for this team, who I still think, they have a couple of tweaks that they need to make to this roster before I'm 100% ready for the season to start. And for those, because they come out all the time, it's like, it's not your money, who cares what they're being paid? And that's true, but what you do have to be mindful of is the salary cap, right? Or the cap in a league where you have restrictions on what guys could be making, and how it impacts your team. And the Jets have limited salary cap. They have some, right? And there's some things that you have to do still, like you got to do the Rodgers restructure at some point. You have to add Quinnen Williams, and that's not going to necessarily change this year's cap so much, but a guy that we've talked about a ton on this channel, and a guy that Jet fans in general have talked a lot about, is bringing back Quan Alexander, because right now the Jets linebacker room, CJ Mosley, Quincy Williams, Jamian Sherwood, those are the top three linebackers, which I like CJ Mosley a lot. I think he's a good linebacker. Quincy Williams is a good linebacker as well. But beyond that, like, the Jets are one injury away at that position from it being an absolute catastrophe, right? And the Jets defense last year was pretty lucky in terms of, staying healthy. Most of their big guys were healthy throughout the entire season. Offensive side of the ball, really not as lucky, but the defense, for whatever reason, stayed really healthy. If CJ Mosley, God forbid, gets hurt, or even if Quincy Williams, God forbid, gets hurt, then you are asking Jamien Sherwood to play a much more significant role for this team than he probably is ready for. Can he do it? Maybe he can do it, but you haven't seen it yet, at least at a big sample size at this level. And in a year where you're going for it, you're pushing all your chips to the table, I think it is important to have the necessary depth. And those are two positions, I think, linebacker and safety, where the Jets do not have that depth. Chuck Clark and Jordan Whitehead, they are projected to be the Jets starting safeties, even though they are similar and both probably better suited as strong safeties. If one of those guys go down, right, or if for whatever reason you want to use either Chuck Clark or Jordan Whitehead in maybe that roaming linebacker, that third linebacker kind of role, then you are probably starting Tony Adams at free safety. And beyond that, like, you're looking at Ashton Davis. You just moved on from Will Parks. You just cut him to potentially free up a spot. So while Dalvin Cook might look like, ooh, that's the nice shiny toy, former Pro Bowler, has put up 1,000 yards, a lot in this league, there are other positions where you need to continue to fill out your depth, because I could see it right now, right? The Jets add Dalvin Cook. It's a pretty nice 1-2 punch with him and Breece Hall. But you have one or two injuries to the middle of that defense, and you're getting gashed running the football against that unit. Because yes, obviously the corners and the pass rush is really, really good. There's some question marks at that linebacker and safety spot, and God forbid there's an injury there, that could turn into a problem. So what I personally would want to do is add more depth at both of those positions that I see as thin, rather than adding some more top-end talent to a position where I think you already have some pretty nice depth at running back. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just my thought process on it and my logic on it. But I want to hear from you. What is your take on it? Would you be willing to pay the, let's call it $10 million potentially plus per year for a guy like Dalvin Cook to pair with Breece Hall? Or would you rather go a different direction with the Jets' remaining salary cap space? Sound off below, like the video, share with a friend. I'm Matt. I'll catch you next time.